Hello everybody, my name is Minkaro and here's the look at the book of Fables from The Wolf Among Us that I promised. Okay, so what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to sort of have a look at them, read them, maybe make a few comments on the things. It's not a gameplay video, I just wanted to have a go at doing this really. Not really expecting it to be I was going to say as popular as my gaming videos, but I think popular is the wrong word for them. But anyway, let's just get into this. So the first one we've got is Big B Wolf, the Fabletown Sheriff. The renowned Big Bad Wolf. He's known for tormenting pigs and girls in red hoods, but is trying to put those dark days behind him. Big B now acts as Fabletown's sheriff and remains in his human form, mostly. However, due to his rough past, the citizens of Fabletown are slow to trust him. Big B is determined to show that he's truly changed, but some instincts are just too hard to control. Okay, so we know he's the same wolf that ate Red Riding Hood and her gran, and the same wolf that blew down the Three Little Pigs' house. But this last line here suggests that at some point the wolf is going to emerge. Okay, so who have we got next? Snow White, the assistant to the deputy mayor. Snow White may seem cold, but this stems from her life of mistreatment and abuse back in the homelands. After escaping assault and imprisonment, not to mention an attempt on her life, she married Prince Charming. It wasn't long before Snow discovered that Charming had cheated on her with her estranged sister Rose Red, and she divorced him. After the Exodus, Snow focused her attention on setting up a safe haven for Fables in the New World. She now serves as assistant to the deputy mayor of Fabletown, and she's dead, which is, minor plot detail. Really important there. But the cheating on her with the sister thing's interesting. I wonder if Charming or Rose Red are going to appear in this. The Woodsman, fallen hero. The Woodsman is one of the few men who went toe-to-toe with Bigby in his Black Forest days and lived to tell the tale. In an attempt to save Little Red Riding Hood, he split the great wolf's belly open with his axe, filled him full of rocks, and threw the beast into a river. To his dismay, his popularity has faded. Even his name is forgotten, and he's only known as the Woodsman. And I let him go in the last episode there, so he could be wandering around with his axe and chopping all manner of people up, which is lovely. Faith, Donkey Skin Girl. Faith, otherwise known as the Donkey Skin Girl, made it through the Exodus from magical homelands with the clothes on her back, her husband, and nothing else. She was once a beautiful princess, happily married to Prince Lawrence of a neighbouring kingdom. Her life should have had a happy ending, but the mundane city of New York wasn't kind to her or her marriage. With no money, Faith found herself turning tricks to make the rent for a cheap apartment on the outskirts of Fabletown. She had a difficult life, but she did what she could to survive in an unfamiliar world. Yes. Honestly, most of the fables in this I kind of recognise the stories of, but I had never heard the story of Donkey Skin Girl before. So, would have liked to find out a bit more about her, but of course she's had her head separated from her body, which is a bit of a downer. Beauty, caring wife. Beauty and her husband Beast once lived in an enchanted castle, but they were forced to flee their homelands in the Exodus, leaving all of their wealth behind. Now they live in a modest studio in Fabletown, New York. Though times are hard, with Beast working multiple jobs to pay the bills, the couple have longest lasting relationship of all the Fables. But she's up to something, yes, sneaking off in the night, and we need to find out what she's up to. Now, Beast concerned husband. Beast and his wife Beauty, whose hair is sort of flicking around in the left there, left everything behind when they escaped the homelands in the Exodus. Without his former wealth, Beast must pick up extra work to make ends meet. He is able to get around Fabletown without a glamour most of the time, but if Beauty gets too angry with him, becomes more beastly by the minute, growing horns and large teeth. Despite the occasional bickering, the two are truly in love and have a long-lasting relationship with anyone in Fabletown. Yes, we know that, thank you. The preview of episode 2 showed him getting more beastly, which isn't good for me, because I was the one that was making him more beastly. So perhaps we could have some Beast versus Wolf action in the next episode. That'd be fun. I mean, not for anybody getting away, but fun for somebody. Mr. Toad, Slumlord. Mr. Toad is the superintendent, or Super Nintendo, for a defunct tenement on the edge of Fabletown proper. Because he's a 3.5-foot talking amphibian, Toad is required by Fabletown law to keep his family and himself magically glamoured to appear human. The problem is Toad isn't too concerned with what the law is and has to be reminded often. Which we found out it took ages to get the truth out of him when we went into his apartment. Liked a bit of a lie, doesn't he? I mean, look at him, he's a very shifty looking bugger. Colin, couch surfer. Colin is better known as one of the 3 little pigs. Back in the homelands, they were harassed by the big bad wolf, who blew down Colin's house of straw. After the Exodus, Colin and the other Fables who couldn't pass for human were sent to live at the farm in upstate New York. Unable to stand such a boring life, Colin constantly makes trips down to Fabletown to bother Bigby. He is always caught and sent back to the farm, but he doesn't let that stop him. Okay, so I wonder if Colin's going to be the only one of the 3 pigs that we actually meet. Because obviously there's one who lived in the brick house, and don't tell me, wasn't there one house made of sticks? Wood? Maybe? I can't really remember. Ichabod Crane, Deputy Mayor of Fabletown. Sleepy Hollow Ichabod Crane has been Deputy Mayor of Fabletown for nearly 115 years. Crane is a bundle of nerves and takes his job very seriously, though that doesn't mean he always does it well. As one of Fabletown's elite, Crane is often blind to the troubles of the less well-off citizens. Overall, Crane is authoritarian, cowardly, and always hiding something. So, he's in the story with the Headless Horseman. Kind of heard of that story, kind of know a bit about it, never really looked into it. So I don't know too much about Ichabod Crane. But I think he's a bit of a dick, to be honest. Okay, let's try the next one. Buffkin, Fabletown Librarian. Buffkin is a talking winged monkey from the land of Oz. Yes, I said that, didn't I? Yes, I did. Don't lie to me. I remember saying it. Now, as Fabletown's librarian, he spends his time reading and stealing the deputy mayor's booze. He's prone to mischief, so when something goes wrong, he assumes he'll receive a lion's share of the blame. He's helpful when he wants to be, but most of the time he'd rather been drinking. Someone would have fired him a long time ago, but he's the only one who can make sense of a filing system. Well, I suppose that's makes sense, doesn't it? If you're the only one who can do something, they'll keep you around. It's a tip. Keeping your employment. I'm not suggesting that anybody starts getting pissed on the job and, turns them into a winged monkey, but if it works for you, give it a go. Tell me how it goes. Fabletown, home of the Fables. Fabletown is a community located on Bullfinch Street in Manhattan's Upper West Side. To regular people, or Mondays, it appears to be an ordinary New York neighbourhood, but it is really the home of fables from many worlds, and within the British office of the Woodlands lies a massive cavern, a vast library, and hundreds of magical items of immense power, all non-human fables encapsulated on the farm, an extension of Fabletown. We keep hearing about the farm. I wonder if we'll get to go there in a future episode. The farm, Fabletown Annex. The farm is home to fables who cannot pass as human. Giants, goblins, animals, Gary Busey, etc. It is located in upstate New York, far enough away from the Mondays to avoid detection. Some of its residents resent their confinement to the farm, despite its size and comforts. To them, the farm is a prison. They would be allowed to leave the farm if they could purchase a glamour, but many don't have the money for something so expensive. Though some, like Colin, sneak out into the city anyway. So yeah, as I said, I'd really like to go and see the farm. Mondays, non-fables. Short for mundane, Monday is a catch-all term that the fables use to refer to the non-magical inhabitants of their adopted home. Warding spells placed around the blocks of Fabletown and the farm keep their minds distracted and dull within certain boundaries. However, should anything pique the curiosity or scrutiny of a large group of Mondays, these magical protection charms should overload and fail. As Sheriff of Fabletown, one of Bigby's primary functions is ensuring the Fabletown community retains a low profile. That's a fantastic moustache you've got there, mate. Glamours, disguise spells. Glamours are spells which allow the user to change their appearance. They are expensive but can be purchased by non-human fables in order to pass for human among the Mondays. Cheap glamours can be found in the seedier parts of Fabletown, but they are often unreliable and prone to sudden failure. Now, the thing about patterns of human, I'm fairly sure most humans don't have purple, whatever those are, running across their necks. Prince Lawrence, Faith's husband. After escaping the homelands, Prince Lawrence and his wife Faith immediately fell victim to the harsh realities of the mundane world. They moved to New York hoping to find aid in a community of fellow fables, but without enough money to live in Fabletown, they had to settle on an apartment on the outskirts of the neighbourhood. Unfortunately, that meant they were out of sight and out of mind when it came to government assistance. Their prospects dwindling, Faith left Lawrence to try to make it on her own. Now that his wife is for support, Lawrence struggles to motivate himself and quickly sinks into depression. Yeah, and there's a whole thing about him being shot, but let's just go over that, shall we? Minor details, yeah. But he's alive. Yeah, he's alive. He survived the first one. If you go to Toad's place first, I think, Prince Lawrence dies. So that's going to be interesting to see what difference that makes. The Tweedle's hired goons. The Tweedle brothers, Dum and Dee, are thugs for hire. They appear human, allowing them to carry out their contracts in the Monday world without drawing suspicion. They are as inseparable as they are ruthless. And we have one of them caught for questioning, so that'll be interesting. Holly, Trip Trap owner. Holly is a no-nonsense kind of troll, and the owner of the Trip Trap bar. She's glamoured to appear human, but her patrons know better. Holly takes good care of her regulars, often the downtrodden fables with little to spare, but she has no patience for the Fabletown government that has done nothing to locate her missing sister. I wonder who the sister is. I mean, this isn't one of her... I'm not familiar with her at all. I mean, there's some that I've heard of, but not really read about. I've got no clue who she is at all. Now I know who Grendel is. Grendel Drifter. Grendel just wants to be left alone. In the old days he terrorised Norse mead halls, but lately he can be found occupying a stall in various quiet, dumpy bars around New York. He hates the noise of a city, but must work there to afford his glamour. Despite his gruff bearing, he's fiercely loyal to those who've learned to offer him the space and silence he desires. Talking to him is like watching a time bomb tick down. It's only a matter of time. Obviously he's from the Beowulf story, so I wonder if Beowulf could be around here somewhere. Or even Grendel's mother. Unless Holly is Grendel's mother. Then again, I don't look much alike, but that could mean nothing. Bluebeard, wealthy scoundrel. I love the word scoundrel, it's brilliant. I love all those sort of old-fashioned words for bad people. Scoundrel, vagabond, wastrel, ragamuffin. Yeah, anyway. Bluebird managed to escape the homelands with his riches intact and continues to be one of the wealthiest fables in New York. The Fabletown government depends on his generous contributions, and he often uses this influence for his own benefit. As a former serial killer, he claims his days of decapitating his... Oh, hello. Decapitating his brides are over. But even if he was able to leave his violent ways in the homelands, that hasn't stopped him making my tongue's turned inside out. That hasn't stopped him from making the occasional trip down Crooked Lane. Decapitating his brides. Maybe he is a suspect then. Bigby's mercy. In the days leading up to the Exodus, the big bad wolf hunted armies of men and goblins out of a black forest. For goodness sake. We speak English. Yeah. These invading forces had driven off a great beast's preferred quarry, and their own flesh was rotten with corruption. Hardly a suitable replacement. He made it his game to destroy their camps, devour their night watchmen, and disrupt their supply trains for sparing their prisoners. One day he broke their ranks and discovered a particular woman they held captive. Her skin was white as snow, but her hair was as dark as the night sky. He approached her, and she, knowing no sword could match the giant wolf's power, bravely placed her shackles in the beast's mouth. He freed her, but years would pass before the two met again in the Monday world. Skin white as snow, but hair as dark as the night sky. Now that's something of a mystery as to who that could be referring to. Snow White, isn't it? I like being sarcastic. This is a new one. Bigby's Vengeance. Long ago in the homelands, the North Wind fell in love with a blazing white she-wolf. Taking canine form, he courted her and stayed by her side for 2 seasons. However, the wind by nature must change direction, and North's temperament carried him back to his wintry castle. The she-wolf was heartbroken, and soon after her lover fled, she gave birth to a litter of cubs, including one that would become the big bad wolf of legend. Watching his mother die of sadness and unrequited love, young Bigby Wolf swore vengeance against a capricious north wind. 7 times the beast journeyed to the great castle, but was no match for the elemental might of his father. Having failed to taste vengeance, he swore to think no more of his dead mother or loathsome father. Buried hatred, however, is seldom forgotten. Okay, so is the North Wind going to appear in the game at all? How do you fight wind anyway? But, obviously, fighting wind, as in trapped wind, is possible. But fighting wind as in the element, perhaps not. So that's all of the fables there. You know, it's interesting to notice that there's a lot fewer of them in the future one, so it looks like the cast of characters we have now is going to be fairly important until the end of a series. I like how it kind of takes the Fables from different. I mean, Grendel from the Beowulf stories. You got the monkey from Wizard of Oz. I mean, they're not kind of things I would have expected to be merged together. I mean, the Wizard of Oz, there's loads of characters you could get out of that. I mean, the witches, the lion, the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, Dorothy, Toto. It's really interesting to see them in there. Especially Toto, you know, because I really like that song about Africa. That was terrible. I can only apologise for the quality of that joke. But I found that quite interesting. As I said, I'm not really expecting very many people to bother with this video. I mean, 21 minutes of me talking about Fables. I mean, even I would admit it isn't the most exciting thing. But I'm going to upload it anyway, and people can watch it if they like. And well, I'll see you for the next thing that I do, whatever that is. I've got no idea, to be honest. Take care. Goodbye.